I have tried dozens of fragrances by Lattafa, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 of my fragrances that I have in decant form and giving you the rundown, giving you the unfiltered ranking of all these fragrances. I'm going to be ranking them from least favorite to most favorite, and to be quite honest with you, I have some fragrances in this video that I thought were absolutely horrible, that I think are actually really, really interesting. And then I also have some fragrances that I was super excited about that I'm actually not so into. And I'm going to be sharing that information in this video with you here today. But if this is your first time watching, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances. I talk about them here 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. I also publish additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. And I do have a podcast called The Fragrance Report where I talk about topics like fragrance history every Wednesday on Spotify, and I publish full-length episodes of that podcast on this YouTube channel as well. I don't know about you, but last year I got so overwhelmed with all the new releases that were coming out back to back. I was like, I need to slow down. And I decided that if I really wanted to get a fragrance from a Middle Eastern brand, I was going to prioritize getting a decant first, trying it out on my own time, and then evaluating whether or not I actually wanted to get the fragrance. And as a result, I've accumulated a bunch of different decants from a variety of different brands. Today we'll be focusing specifically on Lattafa, but I have reviewed all these fragrances before. I have talked about them, but in this case, we're going to be ranking Lattafa fragrances only, and I have a few opinions to share because some of these fragrances I really did not like, but my opinion has changed, and I'll be talking about them in this video. So if you're interested, definitely do keep on watching. So I'm going to go from worst to best, and keep in mind, this is just my opinion. Your opinion might be different, and that is totally fine. But this first one is ridiculously hilarious because I clocked this perfume so early on because I was talking about, like, when this perfume first launched, I was talking about how it's too expensive, how it's just unreasonable the amount of money that they're asking for this fragrance, and now I just checked. This perfume has gone from being priced at like $80 when it first launched to now being $21 on Amazon. $21. I'm talking specifically about Yara Candy. This perfume was such a scam when it first launched. I'm sorry, like, I don't care. Like, I don't have any affiliation with Lattafa. I mean, I think I do have like a code available for, like, I think Arabian Oud or something. So I don't know, if you want to use that code, you're welcome to do so. I do have links for all these fragrances down below in the description box if you want to purchase them yourself. But I don't have an incentive to be anything but honest with you in any of my videos, especially in this particular one, because I'm holding these decants. Like, these are decants. I'm only judging the juice. And when I look at the price of what Yara Candy was originally priced at, it was ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, everyone was like so excited about it. Everyone was hyping it up. They had this big release. They had this big launch party in New York. And I was like looking at that and I'm like, this is all for a fragrance that's honestly plastic. And it's just, it could easily be a body spray. I'm sorry. And now this fragrance is $21. And it's actually on sale right now. It's $21 now, but full price is $25. So it just goes to show that sometimes it's good to wait until the hype dies down, because I'm so glad I did not purchase this fragrance because it's really nothing to write home about. This has top notes of black currant and green tangerine, a mid of strawberry fizz candy and gardenia, and then a base of vanilla, amber, musk, and sandalwood. It smells like a glorified body mist. It smells fine, but this is ideally priced at $21. I have no issue with the pricing because I think it's perfect for what this fragrance actually is, which is a delicious smelling, sour candy smelling kind of body spray-esque fragrance. $21 is a totally fair price. But to be honest, I wouldn't even pay $21 for this because, like, this is not what I look for in a fragrance. It's a little bit too sweet. It's a little bit too girlish for me. It's nice. It's decent. It was way too overhyped, and I'm glad that they've lowered the price now to something that's far more realistic to what this fragrance actually is. So number 10, Yara Candy. Next up in my list is Now Woman, and this is another pink and girly, fruity, gourmand perfume. This time it's actually supposed to be a fragrance that I think smells quite similar to Burberry Her, but this perfume has top notes of red fruits and orange, a mid of marshmallow, jasmine, lily of the valley, and then a base of vanilla, musk, and moss. To be quite honest with you, this smells delicious. It just smells like a strawberry smoothie kind of fragrance, and I know that they have not listed strawberry in the scent pyramid, but to me, this smells eerily similar to Burberry Her, and I'm ranking this perfume where it is right now because this is just not to my taste. This is not a perfume that I would enjoy wearing specifically because it's not to my taste. This is not to my preference, so as a result, I'm ranking this perfume at number 9. Does it smell nice? Yes. Can I picture myself wasting a perfume day on this? Probably not, so this is going to be solidly at number 9 for this reason. So number 8 goes to Eman by Lattafa, and this is like a powdery vanilla fragrance with a citrusy accord. This has notes of orange blossom, bergamot, and blackcurrant at the top, a mid of tuberose, jasmine, and marigold, and then a base of vanilla, musk, patchouli, and cedarwood. Now, I can't remember what I initially said about this fragrance. I think I would have given it a positive review because it's initially like a nice smelling white floral perfume. If you're looking for a beautiful powdery vanilla white floral, this is probably the fragrance to consider. It's a nice smelling fragrance. I don't think it's particularly bad, but I also don't think it's anything to write home about, and I feel like if you have more than, say, 10 fragrances, you likely don't need this. It smells nice. It's not going to be like your wow perfume, and that's why this perfume is ranked where it is. It's nice, it's not the best. Next up is Mayar Natural Intense, and the reason this fragrance is ranked where it is at is because I don't necessarily need to have another version of this kind of fragrance because this fragrance already has kind of a lot of similarities to what's already in my collection. So I would say this fragrance is nice, but it's not necessarily anything to write home about. And I do remember giving this a positive review, and I like it, but I don't like it enough to actually have 3.4 ounces of it, if you know what I mean. So this perfume has top notes of green tangerine, fig, melon, and coconut water, a mid of lotus, water lily, and jasmine, and then a base of ambroxan, musk, sandalwood, and vanilla. I would say if you need a fragrance that is like watery, aquatic, airy, a perfume that would perform really well in the warm weather, a perfume that's not too sweet, that's not like your tropical summer fragrance, this would be a really good option for you to try. I think it's really pretty. I don't think it's anything for me to write home about, and it's not something I'm getting excited about. So it's a perfume that smells nice. I would recommend it if you're looking for a fragrance that's similar to this, but it's not something that I'm going to be like telling you, wow, this is amazing. It's nice. I like it. I'm not going to get a full bottle of it. So, Mayar Natural Intense by Lattafa. So next up is my top 5 fragrance, and you might be surprised that I'm including this in this kind of category or at this place in this video because I tend to be very judgmental about this line from Lattafa, but I'm talking specifically about Yara, the original Yara from Lattafa, not the flankers, the original one. And to be quite honest with you, I actually like this fragrance. And the only reason I don't have a full-size bottle of it is because I just hate the look of the I hate the look of the Yara fragrances. I'm sorry, I just do. I don't like them. But I do think that this is a beautiful gourmand fragrance with some vanilla. It's not too sweet. It smells beautiful. It smells elegant. It has like the right touch of powderiness to it that really draws me in. I think this is a good one. They did a good job. They did a good job with this, in my opinion. This has top notes of orchid, heliotrope, and tangerine, a mid of gourmand accord and tropical fruits, and then a base of vanilla, musk, and cedarwood. I do get powderiness with this fragrance. It's not too sweet. It's not too cloying. This is the kind of perfume that I would be really happy about if I had this like in a body cream. It smells comforting. It smells delicious. It just smells girly, but not too gourmand. And I think so many of the fragrances that have been launched under this like gourmand umbrella just feature notes that are too cloying, that are too sweet. I like the scent of them, but I don't want to be wearing them all day. This particular fragrance is different because it just smells comforting. It smells delicious. It smells enjoyable. And yeah, I think they did a good job with this one. I think it's hyped up for a reason. I don't necessarily want to get the full-size bottle because I don't love that plasticky look of the Lattafa Yara fragrances. But I like this one. and I think it's really nice. So I think I'll, make sure to prioritize maybe using this decant a little bit more, because I think with a lot of these decants, it's really easy to kind of neglect them. But with this particular fragrance, I think this is a good one. I really like it. Next up is Yara Moi, and this is actually a newer. Next up is Yara Moi, and I actually was debating on whether or not to put Yara above or below this flanker, but I actually really like this perfume. It features caramel, but what I like about this is that it's not overdone with the caramel. The caramel acts as a very effective accent with this fragrance. It's not so sweet. There is some other complexity to this fragrance, and I do think it's a nice one. This perfume features notes of jasmine and peach at the top, a mid of caramel and amber, and then a base of patchouli and sandalwood. I like this. I like this. You get a little bit of earthiness with that patchouli, especially in the dry down. This has been on the strip for like, I think the last hour, so it has had a while to dry down. What I like about this is that it does feature caramel and peach, but it doesn't really just rely on those notes specifically, because a lot of times gourmand fragrances that do feature those caramel and peach notes, they end up smelling like a boozy peach, like what's it called, bitter peach part 2 in my opinion. And in this particular case, there is some complexity, there's some earthiness with the patchouli that I like, but it's not too focused on the patchouli. This is an altogether very balanced fragrance. It smells good, it smells comforting, it smells delicious, and I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, it's a good one. Next up is Mussaman White Intense. Now, this is a perfume that was actually hyped up a lot by the niche fragrance content creators, but by the content creators that primarily focus on niche fragrances. They were really hyping this up, particularly because they just thought it smelled really like a luxury fragrance, and I can't say I disagree. This has top notes of spices, bergamot and orange, a mid of ambroxan, mahino, I can never pronounce that, coconut and ylang ylang, and then a base of sandalwood, musk, and benzoin. This perfume, to put it very simply, ends up smelling like a lightly spiced, floral, musky fragrance. I really like this. I really like this a lot. It's a clean girl smelling musk perfume. I am not considering getting a full-size bottle of this purely because I already have so many fragrances in my collection that fit into this category of clean girl musk smelling fragrances, and I don't really need another one. I already have like designated perfumes for whenever I want to get a fragrance that smells like this. And as a result, I don't think this smells like particularly unique, but if you're looking for a fragrance to like kind of like fit into that category that's affordable, this is a good option in my personal opinion. I do think it's nice, but if you're not getting this fragrance, you're not missing anything. And I would say that for pretty much all these fragrances, right? These fragrances aren't necessarily doing anything particularly new or innovative. But if you are on a budget and you're looking for a fragrance to kind of like fit into the category that some of these fragrances represent, some of these fragrances might be a good option for you. And that's, I think, the appeal for me when it comes to a lot of these affordable Middle Eastern fragrances. Because a lot of them, some of them are going to be unique, but a lot of them, most of them, in fact, are not going to be that unique or that groundbreaking. What is nice about these Middle Eastern perfumes, particularly the more affordable ones, is that they often offer a good option for those of us who don't want to spend a lot of money on fragrance to kind of fill a hole or fill a void in our fragrance collection. So let's just say you're looking for a freshie, you're looking for a gourmand fragrance that leans towards like that powdery floral vanilla. You're looking for a fragrance that leans into like that strawberry. There is likely going to be an affordable Middle Eastern option for you to add to your collection that will fill that hole in your collection. But I do think that it's high time we kind of accept that just because a fragrance is new and hyped doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a good fragrance for us to buy blindly. I do think it's worth being very mindful and being very considerate of the fact that these fragrances smell good. They're not necessarily going to be super unique. So you might already have a fragrance that's going to be similar to any of these perfumes in your collection already. So most of these fragrances are going to be $50 and under. So let's just say you are a perfume collector, you are someone who's new to the world of fragrance and you want to add a freshie, you want to add a strawberry scent to your collection, you want a fragrance that you can use for every day, you want a musky fragrance, you want any one of these fragrances chances are you're going to be able to find an affordably priced Middle Eastern fragrance that fills that gap in your collection without having to spend $100 on a new perfume. So that's what I think the affordable Middle Eastern fragrance category does really well. But I do think it's important for us to accept that not every single new Middle Eastern release or Middle Eastern release from the affordable category is going to be super new and groundbreaking. So that's why I think it's so important to be super mindful about what you're getting and what you're adding to your collection. So this fragrance, it smells good. It smells delicious. But it's not going to be a perfume I'm going to add to my collection because I already have so many fragrances that smell similar to it. Would I recommend it if you're looking for something similar like this to add to your collection? Yeah. But I'm not going to get it personally, but I would say that this perfume ranks higher in this video because it's genuinely going to be a good fragrance to add to your collection if you're looking for something like this. Next up is a fragrance that I gave a scathing review on. I hated this fragrance. I did not like it whatsoever, and I do think that my initial review was valid and still is, but I will say that as this fragrance has had a chance to macerate, I think this fragrance is a lot more palatable. And I don't hate it as much. And I actually do think it's an unusual fragrance, so that's why I'm ranking this as high as it is, but I'm talking specifically about Brioche Vanille by Lattafa. I gave this fragrance such a scathing review when it first launched, and I still stand by the fact that I think this fragrance looks like an archaeological project gone wrong because they literally have bread on the bottle. Like, I don't understand why you'd have that. Like, it looks like an archaeological project gone wrong. But this has top notes of brioche, bergamot, and freesia, a mid of balsam fir and heliotrope, and then a base of benzoin, vanilla, and praline. When I first talked about this fragrance, I complained about how it literally smelled like yeast. This was like a very strong, unappealing smell of yeast with this fragrance. And I still kind of get that, but it's like more, now I kind of get like the bread-like aspects of it. It's not so unappealing as it once was. It's definitely had a chance to settle, I think, over time. But I don't think that anyone should have to wait this long to enjoy a fragrance. It's nice. It's definitely one of the more unusual Middle Eastern fragrances I've smelled. Would I buy a full-size bottle of this? No, but I'm ranking this high because it definitely piqued my interest. I like it. I like it more. I mean, I don't know. Should I have ranked it lower? I have no idea. But I like it more than I did when I first got it. I will say that. It's like bread-like, but it's less focused on the yeastiness, and it's more focused on the actual bread now. So yeah, Brioche Vanille, was it worth like the insane hype that it got from like so many people? Probably not, but it's also not a fragrance that I know that I hate any longer. Like, I don't hate it, like I like it. Like, I used to hate it. Now it's a like. And I'm ranking this as number 3 because it's one of the more unusual Middle Eastern fragrances that I've smelled, and it's definitely intriguing. But yeah. Next up is Sehr by Lattafa, and again, I have complained about this fragrance before because I saw that this perfume literally had one of the most ostentatious bottle designs ever, and I have heard from like other reviewers, from people talking about this fragrance, that this perfume is kind of difficult to store because it's so huge. But this fragrance is called Sehr, and this perfume was super hyped when it first launched, and I smelled it and I was like, I kind of don't get it, but I also get it. But now I've smelled it and I've compared it to the other fragrances, and I do think it's one of the better fragrances in this video that I've mentioned, which is why it's ranked at number 2. Is it something that I would buy? No, because I already have a few fragrances that are similar in my collection, so I don't really need this one. Also, again, this fragrance is really difficult to store, apparently, so I wouldn't want to buy it for that reason. But if you're looking for a lightly spiced vanilla, this is an excellent option to get. This perfume has top notes of bitter almond and cinnamon, amid of palmerose, akigala wood, and jasmine, and then base of vanilla absolute, tonka bean, and amber. It's a slightly spiced vanilla, just like slightly. The cinnamon here is perfectly done. It's a powdery vanilla as well. Like, I definitely do get the almond, but the almond, to my nose, does not lean like a cherry, and I think that's pretty common with a lot of like almond fragrances. Sometimes they lean cherry. I personally do not get that. It's really beautiful. So if you're looking for a fragrance like this perfume to fill a hole in your collection, this is going to be a really good one to get. It's a really beautiful fragrance. It's really nice. It's really nice, I do admit. Is this something I'm going to get a full-size bottle of? No, because it's really big and it's really unwieldy and it's pretty ostentatious. So this is not going to be something I'm going to get a full-size bottle of, but it does smell beautiful. Next up is the #1 fragrance in this video, and that accolade goes to Teriaq by Lattafa. And this is probably going to be the perfume out of this entire video that I will likely be purchasing a full-size bottle of, especially if I use this decant up for the most part. But this is really good. This is really, really good in my opinion. I haven't tried the intense one, but I definitely do want to try it, especially after sampling this fragrance. But this perfume has top notes of caramel, bitter almond, apricot, and pink pepper, a mid of honey, rhubarb, white flowers, and rose, and then a base of leather, vanilla, musk, vetiver, and labdanum. I think this fragrance smells delicious. It's perfectly balanced. You have the leathery notes in there, but it's not too animalic. I love how they added the labdanum in here. I feel like that really adds like the suede-like interpretation of leather. There is some sweetness here with the apricot, with the caramel, but it's offset pretty effectively with the rhubarb, so it's not too sweet, and it's just very well done. I really like it. Yeah, it's like a gourmand done right. Like, it's not too sweet, it's not too cloying. Out of all the fragrances in this video, to be quite honest with you, this one is gonna be the love. This is the love for me. This is the fragrance that I will be getting a full-size bottle of. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's very well done. I really like it. I really like it a lot. Yeah, I love it. And okay, I will say this. I have reviewed 10 fragrances in this video. Do I have full-size bottles of them? No. But I do think that decants are a really effective way to review fragrances very objectively, because I didn't spend a lot of money on these decants. I think at most I spent like $10 on each of these decants, at most. And if you can, I definitely would recommend going and exploring getting decants instead of getting full-size bottles, especially when it comes to these kind of like widely available, affordable Middle Eastern fragrances, because as I mentioned earlier in this video, sometimes they end up being very similar to fragrances you might already own in your collection. And that's been a problem for me, especially since I started like buying more Middle Eastern fragrances. I was struck by how similar they smelled to existing perfumes in my collection, even though the scent pyramid seemed to be different, but the execution of it was kind of similar to something I already had. So that's why I started getting the decants, and I do think this allowed me to really enjoy the fragrances and become very objective to the perfumes that I like and to the perfumes that I don't like. So yeah, definitely recommend getting the decants if you're able to. The decants in this particular video did come from 2 sources. This kind of decant came from the Viage by GB. This is a decant website and also a website where you can get full bottle fragrances. It's run by Greta Beth, and she's a YouTuber here. She's a YouTuber here on YouTube as well. I've watched her for years. I love her, and she's also the sweetest person. I've met her in person. She's lovely. And I also have some alternative decants from this perfume store on Etsy called Aroma Sample. They also provide some great options for affordable fragrances as well. So yeah, that's it for this video. Let me know, did you agree with my rankings? Did you not? This was definitely a longer video to film, but I will happily do more videos like this with some other Middle Eastern brands. I think I want to do Kadlaj next because I've accumulated a ton of Kadlaj fragrances. So I'd love to do a video like this talking about my like 10 other Kadlaj perfumes and ranking them in a similar fashion. Let me know if you would enjoy that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching until the end of this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!